Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt. I am beginning our technical assistance session for the DHS Youth program, and we've got something that we're going to show you that is going to happen and should help everyone. And because this is still on Avi's local machine, our programmer, he is going to show this to you. We will be updating production, but we have to work with all of our other programmers to make sure that this is able to be pushed. And so we're hoping to have it out by Friday. So one of the things that, as Avi and I were talking, we decided that it's difficult for you to find the people that have been invited if you didn't do their application when you invited them. So if you invited them and moved on and invited somebody else, it's difficult to find them. So what we did was we added another row to the DHS Youth dashboard, and it has customer invited, application not started. And then we have a row for the application was started but not completed. And then we have a row for application not completed within 5 days. Then at the bottom, we have the total. So that's 10,000 people that were in DHS Youth. You would only see the ones that you have access to, but Avi is like me and has logged in as a super admin. And so if he clicks on that number, it will yield a list. And within that list, it will show you that somebody has been, James Dean has been invited, but the application was not submitted. And then we have submitted and the date that it was submitted. So you can tell where people stand by invited or submitted. Now, to get people into the system, you are adding the customer. So click on the Add Customer button. You will enter this information. You'll search for the customer. We have a couple of programming fixes that should help the application to not just spin. We put in a couple of if-then sort of scenarios, so that you should only be notified if a participant has not been closed out of a previous program. In that situation, then you can contact me, give me the first name and last name of the person and the email address associated. I will go find their file, close them out of their previous program, or else let you know that they just started that program yesterday, whatever it is. You won't have to worry about it as much now. We have 5 people left to fix. I sent about 5 emails within the past half hour to participants or to providers who had people that we fixed. And I think, Avi, on the list, we've got 6 or 7 yet to fix. Now, if you want to close out of that Add Customer module, if you click on the Export tab, we've added a few additional items. We added provider, program year, quarter, customer type, and the program. Then we added case status, application start date, and application submit date. And then we took off NOCTI because we're no longer using NOCTI. And at the very bottom, this is for me and Avi and any other Illinois WorkNet staff to help figure out if something has to be fixed for a particular profile. So that bottom item will be there, but it's only for like me or Avi to use. So when you export those items, you'll check the items, but the provider will show up. And that's more or less, the provider is there so that you know that it's your person. And so that Brandon and Nicole and I can determine what provider it is that we're talking about if we're looking at multiple people. Right now, okay, Avi, you can X out of that. And I just want to address, Tammy had a question in there. Are the providers still completing the application for the youth? And I do want to say yes, at least for this week. I will, once we get this all pushed to production and can make sure that we go a week without any issues, then I will ask Avi to start looking at, to make sure that the link on the application is working without issue. I may select one of you to help me test it to make sure that it's going properly. And Tammy, you may be it because you asked the question. So we will get to that item next. So are there any questions about adding customers, the dashboard updates, or the list of customers updates that we just added?
Good afternoon, Dee. This is Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. I don't know if this is directly related to this topic, but if I had a youth in category 2 that about finished, right, and I think I know the answer to this as I'm about to say it, that about finished their 270 some odd days, they're not eligible for category 1, even if they switch providers, correct?
No, because they wouldn't have any subsidized
Days
You
left.
could put them in category 1, but you wouldn't have any subsidized days to let them use.
Sure. Okay. That's what I was thinking. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, any other questions about adding customers? Okay, Avi's going to stop sharing his screen. He's going to sit with us for a little bit, but work on something else so that once we're done with the recording, we can answer any specific questions. And in case he needs to look, then we can talk about that. And Nancy, your question was one of those. All right, so now I just want to make sure that everyone is using the career plan. So I'm going to share my screen now. And on here, when we look at our DHS Youth program, and we're looking at participants that are in here working the system, I just want you to be aware that the way that the performance data is being filtered right now, that you need to complete the items in the customer career plan for your performance to accurately reflect what you're doing. And what we've done with the DHS Youth is we have added pre-populated steps. Now, this is not a good customer to look at, but we do have some goals in here. I'm sorry, some goals and some services associated that were started. So this participant has been around for a while, and they did some services. So they either completed or unsuccessfully completed, and those will be reflected in the PPR that is now available in the report system. We need some data, and I will get some data from Brandon, so that we can verify that the data is accurately pulling, but it won't accurately pull unless you are putting the information into the customer's career plan. So are there any questions about the career plan? And I do want to show you one more piece where you can work on the services. And we've talked about this before. Oh, sure. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to also mention to you that this customer, see how this is blue? This customer is not currently enrolled. If I look at the progress page, I have to verify the eligibility, and I need to do all of that before I can enroll them. I want to double check, and this is extremely important, that you make sure that this is accurately reflected before you enroll the person, because after you enroll them, the only thing that you can change is their name, address, and email address. So you need to make sure that the factors here for eligibility, the employment goals, all of these things are accurately reflected for that customer's application. And just be aware that it can't be changed once you have enrolled the customer. And I've been getting a lot of emails from people. Can you change this customer's name? I made a mistake. My husband's a carpenter, and he always says it's easier to measure twice and cut once. So I'm adapting that adage to this. It's better to double check a spelling twice before you hit enter, so that it saves you the email, me the time, because I can't make that correction. I have to have the programmer make that correction. And it's kind of simple, but that prevents him from finishing other programming that we need to get done.
Well, Dee, this is George. If a phone number changes or an email changes, which does happen, we're stuck with what we put in initially?
Nope, we have a new option over here on the left-hand side where it says update contact information. So you can click on this. Am I sharing my screen? Yes. So you can click on this left-hand menu and it says update contact information. So you can change the phone number, address, and email address and save that after you have made the customer enrolled. So you can update that contact information, and that is new within the past couple of months, within the past month, actually. Okay, so does that answer your question, George?
Yes, Dee, that does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Excuse me, good morning, Dee. My name is Elaine Sharp and I'm new with LMW. And
it's really hard to hear you, Elaine.
Oh, wow. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Oh, wow. Because I just wanted to reiterate because I'm new and I just wanted to just clarify before you move on. So right here, this is where before we enroll them, we can make all the changes because it says to edit. This section is blue, correct?
Correct. You edit the sections here.
Okay. All right. Okay, so, and after we check it, make sure everything right, we enroll this customer. The only thing we could change after that is the update contact information, correct?
Yes. But if you want to change their enrollment, you can do it here on the enrollment. So if you want to take them from category 1 to category 2 or 3, you can do that on the enrollment status.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, Byron asked, assuming agency continuation, will enrollment process be seamless beginning July? And how are carryovers to be reflected for FY23? So what we're doing, if you had a youth that you enrolled in category 1 and they are continuing in category 1, you don't have to do anything if you did not discharge the youth. If you discharged the youth, then you'll need to add them back into the system. If you had a service, a step on their profile that was successfully completed for last summer, you will need to add that same step / service again for FY23. So Byron, does that answer your question? Same difference. So if they're category 2, they should just be continuing on no matter what until they either graduate your program or complete their 270 subsidized days. Okay, all right. Eva, you're up.
Hi, I have so I just wanted to clarify on the career plan part.
Eva, do me a favor. Can you take your mask off? I can hear you a little bit better.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify the career plan part. Should we, so basically, because we're a year-long program, we've finished some stuff already. Should I just log everyone's like completed a resume, completed, found a job, etc.? Or I'm just wondering how thorough everything should be.
I think that's more of a question for Brandon. So Brandon, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes. So are you talking about discharging them, or they've just completed step? I don't understand.
Yeah, so we're category 1, but we're like a year-long program. So we've actually already finished like preparing for the job and doing the resume and stuff. Should I just like backlog everything for all the students?
In their career plan?
Yeah, are you talking about just, I guess you're talking about all of the, so like all the pre-work, pre-employment
Yeah, correct.
activities, everything. Yes, I mean, you're talking about dating it when they actually did it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, yes.
Okay. Cool, good to know.
But you won't discharge, and I don't think that's what you're asking, maybe. I was confused. I thought you wanted to go ahead and discharge them, but you'll keep them active until they're completely done and you followed up and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yes.
How will her doing that when they actually completed the services reflect on her PPR when you're tracking summer youth participants?
Well, it's got to be captured in the year to date.
Okay, but it won't do for the quarter ones.
Well,
It would have to
Yes
be there
and no.
too, right? Yeah.
But so Eva, did you have people doing something in January?
Honestly, I'm after reviewing the goals. It was more like soft. It was more like the easy stuff, but like I think the hard stuff of like resumes, interviews, um, training stuff, like job training, etc. That's probably gonna happen. That happened last, like this. I think that happened quarter 3. I'm a little, I'm not 100% sure on the dates, but it's like in between quarter 3 and quarter 4. So we have some of it reflected on our PPR, but I think the majority of it will be this quarter. Like Q4 PPR.
Well, right, and you'll also be doing final PPR, which will be everything since July 1st too. So it'll be captured on the final PPR, even if it didn't happen in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we just prioritize. I know that the PPR is completely up to date. I just wasn't aware of this step, so I'll just backlog it now. I can also change the date. I mean, I'm sure that some of the dates overlap as well. So I wouldn't, if it makes it easier, I can put it all in Q4 because I mean, I've been working with them all of Q4 anyways.
Okay, that's fine. On the PPR, I mean, it's just the only dates are the quarter. I mean, the quarter when you're filling it out, that would be the only thing where the dates would apply to, because we just asked for completion basically on things like this, like how did the youth complete the employment 101 and things like that. It's not dated.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's more of like a completion, like a yes or no.
Got it.
Well, Brandon, let me follow up. This is George. I have a question. Because of our funding situation and that we haven't gotten that payment yet, it looks like that some of that activity is going to have to be carried over into 2023. So I just will not discharge those individuals, and whatever activity is done the first month or the first quarter of 2023, I just report that on the new continuation reporting.
Are you talking about in WorkNet or on
Yes,
the
in WorkNet.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And on the PPR, that whatever that first quarter PPR will be in 2023, I will report. She said as long as you discharge, if you have people that are carrying over, right, category 2, they're not completed something, the placement piece or a civic piece, whatever it is of the program, that will have to be done in 2023 likely, and will not be completed by the end of June 30th. I would just report that as 2023 stuff.
Yes, and you're always going to have a distinguished at the top of that, talking about the PPR you fill out in the Excel spreadsheets. For me, you're always going to have that accepted and enrolled. So that's your new youth. So every quarter, either they were enrolled that quarter or they weren't. So you're always going to have youth that you can carry over from the previous reporting period, and you could still report on those. And you always have the fiscal year to date. So
okay.
you can
So I
always
don't count them as new youth. Those will be existing youth.
if they enrolled in the previous quarter, then they would not be new youth. But if they enrolled it during those 3 months that you're reporting on, then they would be.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, they're always going to get counted one way or the other.
Okay, Eva, did you get your question answered?
Yes, thank you.
And George, your questions are answered?
Yes, so I'm just following up. Then the case notes can be updated in 2023 to for those carryover individuals, as long as you notate 2023 on that, whatever that activity is, right? Or whatever that accomplishment is. D.
The dates will reflect when you're entering them.
Okay, right.
And you can, the dates that you enter for the service are what you enter, not like the enrollment, then or the application date when it's done.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Darrell?
Hey D. So question, if you scroll down a little bit to the purple pre-populated, so let's say get employed. Is it okay to add all of our steps? Because generally our program is designed to help them get a full-time or part-time job, whether it be in the school or wherever. And so is it okay if all of our goals go under that one? Not necessarily that one. I'm not sure what the one actually says on our profile, but is it okay if we all put it there? Because normally our goals are set around like completed their CPR and first aid, they became a mandated reporter, they, you know, took financial literacy, they got a bank account, all of that stuff. Is it okay? Yeah, so gain employment is what we normally use.
So the challenge for some of the, if you add your own goals, you need to ensure that your,
Or steps, I mean, not goals.
well, are those steps there?
No, so when you click gain employment, yours it says 3, but ours has like 8 in there. And it never really kind of correlates with how our program is designed. So we normally have to create a step because everyone doesn't give their youth a CPR first aid. Everyone, aside from Employment 101,
Yeah,
that's probably.
so I think we talked about that before. And what you would be doing is, like, for example, this career development experience. On the career development experience, you could, under earned credentials, add CPR, food prep.
Yeah.
You could add all those credentials under here for
But
that customer.
On the PPR towards goals being met.
Well, is what you're adding on the PPR?
No, it's not.
So because it's not one of those it's not a pre-populated step. So what you're adding wouldn't count anywhere because it's not automated.
So essentially we should figure out a way to make our goals align with what you guys already have pre-populated in order for it to count. Otherwise, it's as if we're not serving the youth at all.
That's right.
That's fine.
So that's why I'm saying, when you're doing whatever whatever thing they're earning or learning, try to figure out how it's a credential. Because then when you add the credential, it's picking up, the performance report is picking up the credentials.
Okay.
Excuse me, again, D, like I said, I'm new and I'm following along and I'm trying to.
Elaine, you sound like you're talking in a well.
Oh, wow, that's this computer.
Hang on a second. Darrell, were you done?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm done.
I know you're not happy about what I just told you, but
I'll be okay.
okay. All right. Go ahead, Elaine.
Yeah, I'm not happy neither, and I don't want to get there later. So when I'm looking the way it's set up, then you're saying that if your system don't capture it and yet they have it, then we need to find a way to include it through the manual credential, and still it has to be in this credential source select box at that time too. I
am really sorry. Can anybody else hear what Elaine's saying to me?
Yeah, she's asking, so when if you're serving the youth and you have to, find a way to make their goals that they're accomplishing a credential. I think she's wondering about the credential type and the credential source, if it doesn't align, like those drop downs that you guys have in there. So that's how what you're uploading is the actual, if it's a copy of it. But then so for if I was uploading their CPR, that doesn't align with any of those or any of these.
A CPR is a certification.
So you'll do a certificate.
Yeah.
And then that, right. Oh, okay. So you could pretty much keep it pretty vague and just describe it by
And then you can always write a description down here.
Yeah. That's what I think she was asking.
It
Okay.
is. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm sorry, Elaine, you need to get earbuds or something the next time you're on this call, because it's really hard for me to hear you. So I apologize, but thank you for the interpretation, Darrell. Okay. So now one of the things that you can do, and we have talked about this before, and this is especially true if you're doing summer youth and not all of your participants are doing every single thing that are on the PPR. So what you would do is you would come to the reports, which is the bar graph, and you would come to pick your program, and then it will default to the reports that are associated with your program. And it's not doing it in test right now, but it will default in production. And you will come down to the customer services report. And on the customer services report, as long as you're looking at the a customer who was added with all of the pre-populated steps, then you can filter in oh my goodness. All right, something is broken here. Let me go to production and show you. Avi, can you check this, please? Data table error on the customer services report.
Sure.
You want the link?
Yes, please.
All right. I have a feeling this is not going to work for me. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't show you this, but what this is supposed to be doing is giving you a list of all of the steps and services that are pre-populated. And then you can mark them as evaluated, not required. for all of the individuals who have no need for that service. And that way you can just sit one afternoon and work through all of those for the people that are in your program that are not doing that stepper service. And if you have a whole lot of people that unsuccessfully completed something, you'll be able to work in that as well. We'll get this fixed. I don't know why it's broken. So we'll take a look at all of that moving forward. We'll try and show it again to you in 2 weeks. We should have it fixed before that, I hope. Okay. That's all I have. Are there any other questions that I can record? Darrell, you still have your hand up. Do you have another question?
Nope, I'm lowering it now.
All right, thank you. Any questions that I can continue to record? All right, thank you for watching today. We'll be back on June 21st. And in the meantime, you're always welcome to send me questions about your participation and use of the IYIP tools. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll hang out and answer individual questions.